Wyatt Cash with Scoop News Group, and we're here with Aruna Mathuranayagam, Vice President of Integrated Missions Operations and Operating Unit Chief Technology Officer at Leidos. Aruna, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Wyatt.
Well, let me start by asking, what does IT modernization look like and mean in 2021 in government?
The year 2021, as you know, was largely shaped by the year 2020, which was an unprecedented year at a global scale that changed the dynamics of a workplace and a typical work environment as we experience. It did accelerate the implementation of many of the IT modernization initiatives that our customers had previously planned for. However, IT modernization in 2021 still means that we continue to fulfill the priorities that we had previously established, as in fulfilling and achieving our cloud migration mandates, introducing DevSecOps processes across the board, building out our infrastructure or network and service portfolios for 5G adoption, getting ready for automation and automation enterprise, enhancing cyber strategy, and implementing zero trust architectures, as you know, which many agencies are focusing on. We should also continue to establish a culture of innovation and improvement so we reduce any huge shifts in technical shift in the future. And I would also recommend that agencies start thinking about establishing hyper-collaborative models or convergence platforms that brings together multiple stakeholders from across the industrial base to partner with agencies so we can break down silos, build meaningful transactions, and attain optimal modernization.
Well, in your experience working with agencies this past year, how did the pandemic affect the need to modernize more rapidly?
Well, most of our customers were forced to make quick and rapid modernization by virtue of the pandemic. And we have seen IT modernization at a rapid pace that has rarely been seen in the past 20 years, primarily because the agency CIOs also gained the necessary leadership support, resources, and partnerships needed to make it happen, starting with the needed modifications for establishing a virtual workforce, which was predominantly virtual. Many of our customers continue to deploy devices, expanded bandwidth to support the heavier load on their VDI, virtual desktop infrastructures, increased the capacity of VPN, upgraded their devices and core infrastructures to improve resiliency and performance, among a number of other things. Agencies that had previously shifted to a telework environment were in a better place because they already had existing capabilities. But we also saw some improvements in travel, touchless processing for travel, QR codes from a restaurant or other usage standpoint. So there was rapid transition to touchless processing and mobility applications. However, I would say we are still far from attaining our modernization goals that we had previously established and set out for, and should continue to focus on those.
Well, speaking of that, what major priorities stand out in your mind for modernization in government today?
Agencies today face multiple priorities for modernization, in my opinion, given the inherent technical debt that they already have, but also the continuously changing and evolving threat and technology landscape in key mission areas. So we still, if you can look at data in the field of data analytics and AI ML, we still have challenges in obtaining clean and reliable data that can be used to run meaningful analytics for prediction and prescription purposes. We somehow need to figure out a way to bridge the gap between a technology capability and its broad-based adaptation for a full realization of many of its benefits. I know that the agency CIOs are making huge strides in reducing their technical debt and in their adaptation of new technologies, working alongside partners like Leidos. But for the purposes of our discussion today, I would like to highlight a few major priorities. As you know, smart cloud adoption is a key priority for many of the agencies that they're working towards. In addition to that, zero trust architectures with strong multi-factor authentication for access and segmentations is imperative for agencies. Strengthening our supply chain security, especially in light of the recent events and continuously emerging threats, is also a priority. In light of those, as you probably are aware, DHS is rolling out a series of 60-day cybersecurity sprints. However, zero trust architecture implementation is a continuous, constant, and long-term investment that we shouldn't lose sight of in light of all the other changes. We should some smaller initiatives that are rewarding could be establishing a system for continuous ATO, authority to operate, that replaces the slow ATO process that federal system deployments currently take today. Another item I would emphasize is 5G. It is destined to be a disruptive technology. I know agencies, DoD, and many of the FedScoop agencies are already establishing test beds and experimentation technologies for 5G application in a number of areas. But agencies that are serious about 5G capitalization should start looking at their key mission areas and build out ramp-up strategies for embracing 5G adoption and also capitalization. They can start building core IT, core wireless technology adoption plans, core IT stacks that can be reused and integrated. So those are some of the steps that agencies can take to prepare themselves for 5G. And to close the conversation, I cannot emphasize enough, as everybody's aware, is our investment in our human capital infrastructure. We need to think about disruptive and diversely thinking talent to enable optimization and modernization.
Well, lastly, after agencies largely complete their modernization upgrades, what comes next?
Well, that is an interesting question. Modernization to me is in perpetuity. It never stops because your environments are always changing and your surroundings are always changing. So it is a continuous iteration of where you are and where you want to be. However, the next wave could be in the field of automation that would be powered by data, analytics, human systems integration, haptics, 5G, and the next Gs. That would be the big wave. And it will primarily be driven by data and the network technologies. There are other challenges that agencies face as well. And when you look at the field of science and technology, there are a lot of emerging, disruptive, and convergent technologies that are being explored by DoD, NATO, NASA, National Science Foundation, and some of our other customers. There are challenges in the field of energy conservation, storage, distribution, food and water security, and other common areas that that public uses. So those are some of the areas that we should be mindful of and continue to innovate.
Well, Aruna, thank you so much for sharing your insights and your outlook on IT modernization in government with us today.
Thank you.